look like, and if there's a possibility for us to stay here, or do I need to continue focusing on trying to find new homes for our operation?
Hi, my name is Carla Gonzalez. I'm a transplant from the East Coast. I've been in Washington State now for 14 years as an artist. I'm trying to retire from my regular job, and I want to really just get back engaged in a community of art and like-minded folks, and hopefully do more art. So I've always loved this place. I've only been here a few times. But I just missed that Caribbean festival thing we had last weekend. That was so cool.
It was a lot of
So I love cultural stuff. I love food. I'm a nature person, art. I love all art, music, and I see it all as sort of medicine. Music, art, food. It's all medicine for the soul, and that's really kind of what I'm about. Bringing people together, and just looking forward to expanding on that throughout the community and being just more engaged. Pretty much it.
I'm Dorothy Lane. I'm a music area, and like a lot of you are kind of been involved in the city arts or the whole organization. I'm a visual artist. I'm a visual artist. And I love the arts, so I get to be involved.
I'm Carrie Wren. I work with Pierce County as an art specialist, and just trying to make sure I'm staying informed and that we're doing everything that we can to be supportive. So has ACE moved over to, is it still located in this building? Are you all working with Lisa to make a move to their studio? I guess is my kind of main question as, I work out of the economic development department, and just what we're doing to help small businesses and programs.
I'm gonna take this one, as much as I said I wasn't. But were you here when I introduced myself?
No, I'm sorry.
I'm Shelley Crocker. I'm the receiver. So, so Katie and I working, kind of, I think of it as like I'm working on the big picture stuff. Katie's working on making sure this place is working and providing programming. So the ACE partnership was ended. The ACE program had to end at the end of June because the funding source was the federal government, and you're not interested in us anymore.
Yeah.
I know you're shocked to that. What happened, and Katie can forward you the email that went out to all of our ACE partners. We worked very hard at making sure there was an off-ramp for that program, and one of the things I'm most proud of is our new partnership with SpaceWorks.
Right.
So SpaceWorks, if anyone who doesn't know, is one of the programs of the Tacoma Chamber of Commerce. They do public art and public art installation work, and they also do business incubation. There's a lot of overlap with what we were doing with ACE. They have moved into our building. We used some of the remaining ACE funds to give them money to do that. They are staffing right downstairs, is why I keep pointing that way. They are providing, basically treating any ACE partner who wants as an alumni of their program, so that there's continuing support and services. ACE partners are welcome to use the space, literally sign up for office space or co-working space or meeting space. We also are providing very reduced rate space for rent or use by all different kinds of groups, for either events or performances or for ongoing rehearsal space, things like that. So,
You mean people who are from the ACE program?
yes,
Okay.
ACE partner alumni get a special rate for a year.
For the event space here. One of the things that was really unique about the ACE program as we developed it is specifically when you're thinking about the type of space that performing arts requires to share its work is a little different than some of other businesses or even visual arts. And so being able to provide ACE partners access to event space, which as we all know is at a premium in Tacoma anyway, but space like this that can be so flexible and adaptable to a variety of types of events That was a really important component of the program, and that I think made it unique from other business incubation programs. And so the ability to access those special rental rates for event space in particular is something that we worked hard to preserve for the coming year.
We also put in this floor.
If you had been in here before, this floor was treacherous.
It was obviously expensive, right? And this was ACE money, your tax dollars at work, to provide another room of this size, not just for performances, but to be able to use it for dance rehearsals, for instance. Like, we couldn't have that in this room before. And so we did 2 rooms. We did another rehearsal space with ACE money. So those are the things we did to make sure that the money would serve the community on into the future. I don't want to leave out Tractor Space, because that's our other partner that we developed. They are a for-profit co-working space, and they, again, we pre-funded some slots for ACE partners to be able to use their co-working space and their co-working resources going on into the future. So we didn't just cut people off. Does that answer your question?
Absolutely. That's wonderful.
So, yeah, I feel very proud personally. I got here and there was talk of giving money back. I'm like, we're not doing that. We are not giving any money back. We are going to spend it all.
Should never do that.
And the ACE team, sadly, lost their jobs at the end of that process. But they, to their credit, oh boy, did they do what I asked, which is run through the tape. We are going to run through that tape, and we're going to work. June 28th, they were in here giving the final big send-off event when the money ran out June 30th, and they were all laid off as of July 1st. And so really grateful to how hard they all worked. Really sad to see that piece of programming go away. But we've had to, focus on the education parts of our programming and this space to be able to survive. So, sorry.
Thank you very much for all of that.
Hi.
Sorry, I showed up a little late. I'm Destiny. I live here in Tacoma. I'm also a writer with Southland Magazine. I know Tacoma Arts Live has been going through changes, and I just wanted to check out this event, hear about the future.
Troy Kirby, I'm the new professor for business over at Bates. So I actually met you at Russell.
I was gonna say, I recognized you immediately.
Yeah.
Awesome.
We just met the president a couple days ago.
Yeah, Lynn's great.
So, it's great to have you here.
I'm Kenneth Shaw with Rotator Creative. Adam was the other connection here. We've had a history with Tacoma Arts Live with everything from kind of marketing to helping develop some events and things like that. If you saw like the lemon sessions anywhere back there, that was a really fun thing to kind of sort of almost co-produce, but we're working together. And even though we're currently not actively working with Tacoma Arts Live, we care a lot about you guys and supporting Katie and Roll. And happy to be here. Oh, and my kids have, my daughter's going for the musical theater camp last year. And fun connection, my son was in the Quid City Studio internship, Springtime Hudson. Fun connection.
I'm Jenny Hall, and I moved to Tacoma in '85, moved to the Hilltop in '88, and have seen this building move from all sorts of graduates. We toured it when Mr. Madison still had it, opened the door and had pigeons flying. It's changed a lot, and I'm seeing things go that way. I'm so glad to have you come to new leadership, because I saw there was immediately when you stepped in, which is a good thing. I hear that running to the table, get the money. You can't leave money sitting on a table that you're going to have. Thank you for doing that. Hoping to see things work out for the community. The arts programs are very, very just from one end to another. So I like to see it continue.
Megan Gaskell, Visionary Human Services.
Yeah, in real life. I email with Megan a lot. I've never met Megan in person, sorry.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch where you're from.
Pierce County Human Services.
Thank you.
So we've, worked with the violence prevention program for a long time, and continue to work with them. So I just came to say hello. My ears open for raising
Do you guys know each other?
No. How did you go to the hill? Nice to meet you.
That's what we're all about, is building community. Meet your coworkers.
I'm Jan Forsythe. I am the Vice President of South Sound Collective Voices, which probably most of you have heard of. We're kind of new and we're kind of old. Our base is a group, we're a choral group. And our base is a group called Rebirth, which was established in Seattle about 20 years ago. And it was a place for youth, 12 to 18, 19, to come. It was very, very welcoming of the LGBTQ youth and their allies and people who felt good in that kind of environment and really emphasized supportive community. And it was very successful in Seattle, grew very nicely. And then COVID hit, which was not good for choral groups. Did not work very well, and so it's sort of dissolved. But it has been revitalized here in Tacoma. So we don't have our Seattle base anymore, our Seattle donor base anymore, which is really kind of hurting our purse strings. But it was up and running about 2.5 years ago. We do still have the Diverse Harmony group, which is the youth group, which has gone as small as 6 or 8 people. I think now we're beginning to push 20. But we also started an adult choir, a higher voices choir, an SSAA choir for those in the know. And that has grown to, we're about 65 members or so, and we get another 10 members at least, every 6 months or so. We're operating on a shoestring. Right now, we're scraping the bottom of the barrel. We are very community-minded, and the majority of our concerts, we've had probably about 7 or 8 concerts over the last couple of years, and the majority of them are in partnership with other nonprofits. We give the suggested donation, we give that to the nonprofit after we take out expenses for the concert, and we theme the music in harmony with whatever the nonprofit is we are working for. For instance, we had a very successful concert last February at Lost Waterway. It was a very green sort of selection of music. Gave the surplus of the funds there to Lost Waterway. So and we changed our name to South Sound Collective Voices. So Diverse Harmony is the youth, and Fluidity is the adult choir. So that's our background, and as I said, we're kind of struggling a little bit, but we've got some good ideas. We've got a lot of enthusiasm for the participants. We're looking venue space. Is a big thing, inexpensive venue space, and even some rehearsal space, although we're managing it. The Reverse Harmony, in fact, is rehearsing currently here in this building. So I am new to the area, grew up in Washington, D.C. area, and moved here about 3 years ago. So I don't have the ties to the underlying supportive community, and so I'm trying to network a little bit for the organization and listen to what the rest have to say.
What an incredible collection of things. This is really cool. Thank you all for spending time here today.
Can I say one more thing? As greeter, talking to the people, one thing that I've been concerned forever is the number of people that will say, I didn't know anything was going on in the economy. They have a right to not come to events, but at least let them know that things exist.
We have Ken and Adam have been through this struggle with us. This building is huge. It's very obvious to see from the outside. It's also historic. And so there are restrictions on what we can put on the exterior of the building to help signal to people that something magical is happening inside. And this is an ongoing conversation. Of course, there are other things around, you know, posters and word of mouth and digital tools, but the building is so prominent. So it is something that we struggle with, and we've worked on a few ideas, we've had some success, and I think there's more we can do in terms of helping to let people know, really, I have to say it again, but that something magical is happening inside. And it's often something different than it was the day before, which is part of what's so
Cool.
so exciting about it,
Exactly.
right? You just kind of never know what you will find at the Armory. I guess probably 2 years ago now, when we were planning for the 25-26 season, my goal as I was putting together different programmatic components, was that the Armory would become a place in Tacoma where people would say, what do you want to do tonight? I don't know, let's go to the Armory, there's something great there. Like, that's what I hope for this building. And we started, like, that's one of the things that was so particularly difficult about the collision of the legacy debt that the organization had been carrying, is that halfway through the 25-26 season, where we had strategized on how to activate this space and to bring it into the fabric of this community in a new way, it was halfway through that season that this separate component of the debt just became too much to continue to carry. The weekend before the board's public announcement of intent to sell the building came out, the weekend before that, we had Pink Martini with 1,100 people in our main event space on Friday night. On Saturday, we had a free performance of our Civil Rights Legacy Tour production at Mount Tacoma High School, open to the community. Saturday night, we had high school varsity a cappella vocals competition on this floor, which, by the way, ended with a parent and youth dance party, like a spontaneous dance party at the end of the event. And then on Sunday, we had public roller skating. Like, that was the weekend, and that was exactly what we had been strategizing to do. So that kind of brings us to where we are now, which is, like, that debt component has to be addressed. It absolutely has to be addressed. We had started to work on the programmatic service delivery turn that we needed to make. And with Shelley coming in the receivership capacity, we've been able to really focus in on what are the things that we can and should be able to deliver in our community going forward. What does the revised Tacoma Arts Live look like? And we had to look at both what's delivering the most impact and the broadest service reach through a lot of different lenses, not just number of humans. That's not the only way we make impact, right? And then what are the most sustainable activities too? And so where those things overlap is how we get to focusing in on our arts education programs, which have been serving approximately 30,000 students, teachers, and families a year for many years. The arts education programs have been building over the last, I'd say, 20 years, really intentionally and really swiftly. And then this beautiful space, and what does creative activation of the Armory look like? And I think some of that is also informed by the legacy of Fred Roberson. Mr. Roberson, you brought up Mr. Roberson. As I understand it, Chris knows more than me, that he always envisioned this space as being a space for community, and that he wanted to bring it back to that intent through his work here. And I think that's an important piece of legacy that we are responsible for. And it absolutely fits with the mission of Tacoma Arts Live. So that's what we're doing going forward. Creative activation looks like a lot of different things, though. That's broad, right? We have this room for more intimate style performances, which we will be now announcing a relaunch of the Live at the Eleanor program, which features local and regional artists on that stage, all different art forms. I will tell you it starts on September 18th with Sabor Flamenco, Maricela Fuentes Lear's flamenco company. It's a wonderful way to kick off the Live at the Eleanor series. We also have improvisational theater coming in, jazz, looping synthesizer, like live experimental music, modern dance, and even silent disco. If anyone has encountered that, I'm really excited for it because I've never done it. But so there's this space. Not only is it a space for regional artists to be, not only to have a platform, but to really be in the spotlight. One of the things that we heard from artists last year in this program, and I think this happens a lot to musicians who end up often the most readily available performance venue is a bar. Not everybody's there to see the music, but when an artist plays the Eleanor, everyone is here to listen, right? And I had an artist say, I haven't felt like an audience listens like this in a long time. So that's why we're still doing the Live at the Eleanor program. Oh, and it's a great space for holiday parties, and it's rentable by the community. We have retirement parties in this space, holiday parties, receptions. This is our Chief Operations Officer. He didn't get to introduce himself. Who are you, just briefly?
Chris Tubig. Yeah, I'm the guy. If you want to rent a space, you can call, email me. I do a lot of other work in the community as far as just like engagement with organizations. If the toilet paper needs to be changed, you just let me know, and I get on it right away. It's like all the things operationally and facility-wise around this place.
Well, and Chris made the parade floor look beautiful for you all today too. You'll notice the lights are running, the screen is beautiful. Even if you don't take his tour later, step in and take a look at how pretty that room can be.
Yeah,
It's all Chris.
our stage crew is IATSE Local 15, so we are a union house, but our stage crew is made up of two really great individuals who are flexible and knowledgeable and have done amazing things here that really compete with anything in Seattle, Olympia, Tacoma. This doesn't exist anywhere else. So we're pretty proud of it.
And he's happy to serve Huskies as well as Cougars.
And so speaking of the large space, we call that the parade floor, and that is home to artist markets. We have a whole market season in the fall. You're probably familiar with the Tacoma Arts Commission's Arts at the Armory. If you're not, come to Arts at the Armory. There's so many artists who are vending at Arts at the Armory. They have to rotate them out each day because there's so many. It's just incredible. We also have been host to Black Night Market many, many times. We're hoping to see them back this fall. Tacoma Sunday Market does markets here. Market of the Beast, which is, if you're unfamiliar with, is like a rock and roll punk rock maker artist market.
Can we have a geek one too this year?
Geek Craft and Lore and Luster. So then we kind of move into festival style. So Lore and Luster was a romance and fantasy book festival. And then we had Grit City Studios with the Tacoma Lit Fest. And then, like I said, Pink Martini, right? An internationally performing gorgeous orchestra, like they call themselves the Tiny Orchestra. And then there's the private events. So I kind of started with like public activation on this side, and then private events. There are.
Skating. When are you going to do skating?
Oh wait, skating. Hold on, I just said private. There's two kind of. Obviously, we could do weddings here. If you know someone who would like to rent a wedding venue, we can do weddings. But more frequently, the private rentals that we host here are for community cultural celebrations and quinceañeras. Like this is the spot for quinceañeras in Tacoma. Like it's really incredible. And then, as Shelley mentioned, roller skating. So the Armory has a long history, actually, of roller skating and roller derby. And as you've probably heard, or maybe experienced yourself, skating rinks are closing all across the country. And in Tacoma, the closest rink is either Federal Way or Olympia. And we have an incredible youth roller derby community here, as well as an adult roller derby community. They all practice here now. And we started 2 years ago is when we established a partnership for practice space. And then we said, oh, what about some public roller skating? So then we did a little bit of public roller skating a couple times a month. And for this season, Tomorrowland Junior and Dockyard Roller Derby are anchor tenants up here in the parade floor space. So not only their practices, but we're doing public skating at least 3 times a month. Family skates are on Sundays from 1 to 6, and then we're doing 18 and older skates on Sunday nights. And then on Wednesdays, we don't have the Wednesday part on the website yet. In fact, we're finishing a grant application to get additional funding for it. But there is a Wednesday cheapskate program that we will offer, which is $5 roller skating, just 2 hours Wednesdays, like 5:30 to 7:30. And as a part of that, each week, Tomorrowland Junior and Tacoma Arts Library working together with Tacoma Public Schools to provide free tickets for each TPS student. Like a school is featured every night, so that school's kiddos can come and skate for free during cheap skate. So skating is becoming a larger component of what we do, and that's a big part of like of the idea that when you are struggling, the instinct is to like collapse in on yourself. So Carmen mentioned dance. I am a dancer. That is my primary art form. I have a couple other art forms, but dance is my primary. It's what I lead with. And when you're trying to find your balance, if you've ever done yoga, this will be familiar to you too. When you're trying to find your balance, you think, oh, I gotta go in. But that's actually not how you find balance. It's by reaching out. It is by pushing down into the ground, by rooting yourself and extending your energy out. And that is how you actually get strength and balance. And I feel like that, to me, is the metaphor that that I hold as I'm thinking about how Tacoma Arts Live gets through this really, really difficult time. That's the future.
I
Question?
want to say one more thing about skating, because I was skeptical, I came here new, I didn't know any of this stuff. And I was pretty skeptical of how that fit in with the picture of who we want to be. And a number of things about it are real, especially the youth program, but the adult programs too. First of all, if you've never been to a roller derby event, you really ought to put it on your calendar. It is fun. I remember my kids are growing up, I took them years ago. I mean, these people are tough as nails, right? But the other thing they are is extremely creative. Like, you will see the costuming that goes on, the makeup that goes on, the creative outlet. And talking to the woman who runs it, Chris, who you all hopefully will get to meet someday, she's just a force. She has this vision of that this is a place where kids who aren't able to fit in at the soccer team, who aren't maybe the theater kids, like this is another place for kids to find their voice and their spot in the world. And that is what this place nourishes, with this edge of creativity that does fit in here. So it's the community piece, it's the supporting youth piece, and it's the creativity. And it, honestly, it's like one of the most important things we do is have a space that isn't anywhere else in the world, and it's here. So, and it would go really great with your diverse voices crowd. I feel like we need some overlap there. So,
Question? Are shoes included?
I'm sorry?
Are shoes included?
We do have skate rental available.
Okay,
Yeah,
right.
you can bring your own skates, and we do have some.
Okay. And I didn't get the chance to introduce myself.
Yeah.
So officially, my name is Dr. Paul Jackson. I'm a retired Boeing computer scientist researcher with a Ph.D. in computer engineering. I also have a chronic disease, and I'm married to this beautiful woman over here, Jasmine. And so, I know she's very modest, but she is an incredible artist. In addition to having the makerspace, has anyone been to the East Side Community Center?
Oh, yeah.
So she did the statue.
Oh.
Yeah. And she also did a bust of Dr. Mims, Maxine Mims, who created Evergreen Tacoma campus. And so again, she's very modest. She don't really like to talk about herself.
Paul, tell us why you're filming us.
That's my deal. So when I was a researcher at Boeing, I videotaped the research work, fell in love with the process, and I've been doing it ever since. So I now call myself an artivist, as an artist, activist, and archivist. So I have well over probably 200 videos I've made since I'm living in Seattle. When I moved to Tacoma,
So can I?
Amazing.
Thanks for joining us.
What you all do in that small space is just unreal.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Really
I
awesome.
so appreciate that.
Yeah.
And when you need bigger space, we're your neighbor. We should be we should be collaborating.
We actually, in 2025, this time, we did an author event here for Tacoma Reads, which is our signature fall reading program. We had over 300 people in this space last year.
Awesome.
So grateful. It was like just
So we need to make it an annual event.
So.
I'm sorry, one more thing I forgot to mention is that she made this T-shirt
Awesome.
with the makerspace. We have a X-Tool garment printer, we have a laser engraver, a whole bunch of stuff. So yeah, and right down here at the Armory. So yeah.
Thank you. I'm thinking about time, and we can go, like, Shelley and I, we might be able to go over, I know Chris can probably help us a little bit with touring, but there was one other question that I wrote down, which was, what is the future of this building? Can we stay? Jasmine asked that. And I want to be really explicit as I answer that question. We have a revised business model that is focused around sustainable, mission-oriented service. And that includes a balanced revenue portfolio of earned income and grants and contributed income from local donors, from $5 donors to, well, right now our biggest donor is $10,000, and that's amazing. But I wouldn't say no to a larger donor. So, but it takes all sizes of donations, right, to keep a nonprofit healthy, and it has to be balanced between earned and contributed revenue. So that is one piece. You're going to hear and see a lot from me in terms of fundraising, because we do need to fundraise for our service delivery. And the biggest thing that impacts our ability to stay at the Armory is addressing the legacy debt, which is why Shelley is here. That's really the core of why Shelley is here.
And so we are in receivership. That gives us protection. They can't kick us out. But I'm going to have to raise $3.5 million to be able to stay. Now, our plan is for that to be in the form of debt. We're not out there trying to do a big capital campaign. Which, thank God, because it's not the right time to do a big capital campaign, right? And so we can support that level of debt with our ongoing operations if we get the right kind of community or philanthropic or impact investment. And here's our business professor weighing in.
So this is the long session coming up next year. What are you planning to do to host all of the legislators who will be in town? There'll be a Olympia, but they can come up here and proactively hit them at the beginning of the year before a cutoff, before they get into budget, and before they decide to slap another tax on you and nonprofits, because that's where a lot of this legacy debt unfortunately comes from, is that they decide to tax nonprofits a lot different than the state law. So what is your plan of action to get all of the senators and all of the reps? I know this is, beyond baseball, but it's like inside baseball stuff, but that's where some of your issues are actually coming from. Nothing to do with whether or not you raise $5 more from the roller skate. I'm just saying that.
Well, no, and I hope you heard
Yeah.
that we are actually, working in parallel. That's exactly the point of what Katie and I have tried to express. Katie is focused on creating the place that is worth saving, right? My job is saving it. And I've had really great success doing that in a myriad of different ways. I
Well,
appreciate your
questioning
question is really a good one. It reminds me that that's high on my list, and you're right, September's coming. It's now or never, so thank you for the question. And
Well, I
we
guess.
do have a strategy of meeting with people, being available, and asking for money in indirect and direct ways. So thank you. I don't have a more particular answer for your question. I hope you can forgive me, but it's a good question, and it is part of our strategy is to be working on a political level to make sure we get the kind of support from the governments at the city, county, and state levels that we need to survive.
Well, I appreciate you trying to shut that down. What I'm saying to you is that in February, if you hosted something, it's usually on a Tuesday night or Wednesday night. And since you are a union shop, the unions likely could help host that. That you would get every legislator that is in the capital that has nothing to do. And those are the ones that write budget, those are the ones that advocate. So if you don't want to do that, you're missing a big thing because as they do one session, that's where they do the budget. And then if they want to slap another tax on you because they don't hear from you, the college educators have to do the same thing. You have to play that game. So I'm just throwing that out that a lot of the issues that you're having have less to do with admission or sponsorship and more to do with the packets. I would highly suggest having a plan every year.
And I would assume that you all are working with Manny, Calvary again. Yeah, so if you're working
I was
with.
just on the phone with Manny yesterday.
Yeah, so Inspire Washington, you know, working with someone who specifically is a lobbyist for the arts and has meetings and we all have a set agenda of what those priorities are. And that way you have not only you guys going to the legislature, but every arts person in this area who can go to the legislature, and we all have the same story. And we all have the same, we're all on the same page to really advocate as a whole group instead of just a single group going in. We have so much more power with the community.
Yeah, both Inspire Washington and Arts Ed Washington are close partners in our work. And I would love to follow up with you.
Sure.
Since we are neighbors too.
Yeah.
Maybe let's get some coffee, and I'd love to know more about how you structure what you do in February.
Yeah, you know, it's the unfortunate game that if you don't speak to them, they don't think you need the money. And so they will gladly do something else to the people that do speak to them. She's correct on that. But you also have as a union shop, you have something that's totally different that they do speak to. I don't know if you're SCIU or anything, but I mean, that type of unfortunate, but you can raise all the sponsorship you want, we'll just tax it more so you won't get as much, you know. I mean, those are the things, those are the problems that come from that, so you have to really speak to the idea that this is an inside baseball game if you want to keep this building.
So we, as Katie's email said, this is a monthly occurrence. I really hope that some or all of you will come back next month and join us again for this, and this is an ongoing conversation, and and today, honestly, we did not expect this many people in the room, or we would have maybe, structured, but hopefully, maybe next month, we'll get this many people in the room again, and we can do a little more structured conversation around getting input from you guys about what you would like to see in this building, what you'd like to contribute to. I don't mean with money, I mean with your energy and attention. I think that'd be something that would be really fun to maybe do some small group, or put whiteboards around or something, to start hearing back a little bit more from you. You all have Katie's email, so you know how to reach her. If you have more to say, I know we have an appointment that we need to, and I know Chris is ready to show all of you around. What are you gonna show for the tour, Chris? What are you gonna entice them with? Are you taking them to the basement? Oh, boy.
If we want, we can do a basement tour if we want. I wasn't going to. But
You weren't going to?
we'll look at the
So
parade
put you on
floor.
the spot.
I think we can talk about, if people have questions about this room, definitely the parade floor. The production is up and going. If you've never seen the projection wall that we have, again, it doesn't exist anywhere, so let's talk about it. If you want to see the basement, I
We
can
could
take
save
you.
that for another
Sure.
future.
Yeah,
For
that's
Halloween, that could be our Halloween tour.
because the costume room is down there. Yes, I was gonna say, any like burning things that need to be shared in the group
Yeah.
before we
Thank you,
turn it
Cookie.
over to Chris.
Thank you, Cookie.
Everybody take some of these and put them on bulletin boards and leave, I take them to the YMCA,
Great.
you know, or to the library or whatever. Take them, people will pick them up, especially with Blue 5-3 on them. And I'm sure they will print more because
yeah.
they printed
We've got
more for me to take. So take,
So, just so you all know, this is the old Brew 5-3, okay? This is the longest standing Pierce County beer festival around here, probably longer than a lot of Seattle beer festivals. So we've been going 14 years. We started down on Broadway. We moved it out to Chambers Bay for a couple years. We brought it back to the Armory and had an inside-outside mix. And now this year, because of timing, we just decided to do it in October, so it's going to be completely inside. Food trucks on the street. But
Oh, Don, you have to take some.
everybody should have been to Brew 5-3 once in 14 years. And if you haven't, here you go. It's not just beer, there's cider. You can also buy a DD ticket and come in and just listen to the music and just be around and listen to the vendors. Like, it's a community event and it's been around a long time. So talk about it, share it with people, and it's gonna be a party because it goes till 9:30 this year. So come have fun.
As an evening event, there will be a costume contest for those of you who like to do that, since it's our Halloween edition. And the beer and cider vendors that are doing tastings have also been invited to decorate their booths in theme. And so you'll get to vote for most festive brewery and for the brewery that has the taste that you enjoy the best. And there will be prizes for all. So thank you all for being here. I'm gonna hang around for just a little bit. Folks kind of turn over to Chris. I apologize that Shelley and I have an appointment backing right up onto this, but I really do hope that we will get to continue our conversation. Thank you.
Thank you for inviting all of us in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for having a conversation. It's great.
sometimes.
You're a newbie.